The Monkey Man is a movie I saw, and by the end of the movie, I thought, really, really good flick. And then the credits rolled, and I saw directed by Dev Patel, of course. And then I saw a story by Dev Patel. And then I did a deep dive into the production of this movie and found out that it cost $10 million. $10 million? Oh, The Monkey Man matters. As far as the plot of the movie goes, there are some things that the trailer shows you and there's some things that the trailer does not. Is it just a John Wick type movie? Sure, you could say that. It fits into the vein of the revenge action thriller. Dev Patel. Not only does he direct this thing, it's his directorial debut, which is really hard to believe. He's acting in it, obviously, and he's unbelievable. It's got more depth than a traditional John Wick movie might have. It's got more meaning, more weight, more heft, more message to it. But the reason why this particularly matters is because he also wrote the story. He co-wrote the script with a couple other people. But this was a very clever concept. In terms of John Wick type movies, John Wick, the movie starts and you see his motivation, and there's a world that you're sort of being introduced, but it's also been lived in, and you're being introduced to that world. But it's kind of paint by numbers in terms of got to get some weapons, got to kill some people, got to fight some guys, movie's over. This movie starts, and you don't know Dev Patel's motivation. You don't know really where it's going. He's unhinged a little bit, so you don't know if he's going to treat this situation the same way a level-headed John Wick might. And nobody knows who he is. So in terms of a story and the way that Dev Patel crafted this thing behind the camera and in front of it, it's so much more intriguing than a John Wick movie could be. It's so clever in terms of how they produce different emotions and how they show you different plot points that pay off down the road. It matters because it shows you what a first-time director can do with a nothing shoestring budget. When we have $200 million movies being made, and there's a place for those too. I love No Way Home as much as the next guy. But when you can have, again, somebody who's never directed a movie before, and you give him next to no money, and he makes something that looks and sounds and feels like this, the sky's the limit, not only for Dev Patel, but for studios looking to scale back their budgets, which is why this movie really matters. It matters because movies are getting cheaper, movies are continuing to stay original, and movies are not caring about setting up sequels. Now, does this movie have a definitive ending? Sure. But if this movie makes $1 billion, which it won't, I'm sure you'll get a Monkey Man 2. Electric Boogaloo. The fact that this movie only cost $10 million to make, it's already made $11 million in 3 days. It's going to make its money back. And the fact that Jordan Peele executive produced it, and by the way, he was the only reason this movie came out, because it was intended to come out on Netflix, which would have sucked. I hate the idea that movies like this can be thrown away on streaming. Netflix pulled funding or some crazy stuff that happened behind the scenes. Dev Patel said it was a catastrophe. Jordan Peele saw a cut of the movie and said, this is unbelievable. I don't know if I share the same sentiment that is unbelievable. It's extremely solid, and I was not upset at the idea that I spent however many dollars it was to buy a ticket to see this movie. I was very happy that I did, and it's a good movie. I didn't think it was unbelievable, but Jordan Peele did enough to back it, to refund it, and to send it into the homes of America 2 months after it comes out theatrically. And theatrical releases are movies like this. Movies that take you for 2 hours, and they hold you like this, and they don't let you go. This movie matters because the budget was so low, and the quality was so high. It matters because Jordan Peele shows that he's got an eye for talent, and it matters because Dev Patel wrote and directed this goddamn thing. I don't think I've ever seen a movie this good from a first-time director relying on nothing but basically himself and a bunch of actors who are phenomenal but aren't really well known outside of what they do in whatever country they film in. These aren't mainstream American actors. You have A Star Is Born, which Bradley Cooper helped write and he directed, and it was his directorial debut, but that had Lady Gaga, and it had Bradley Cooper, and it had some juice to it. It was a remake of a classic movie of Barbra Streisand. This movie came out of nothing. It's got Dev Patel, who's famous-ish, But my dad doesn't know him. He's not an A-lister or maybe even a B-lister. But after this, he might have a golden ticket to star or direct in whatever he wants. And that's why Dev Patel matters. The last thing I'd like to say about this movie is that there's Indian themes, there's Indian cultures being questioned, there's religious undertones, and there's political aspects in this movie that I did not know about because I barely saw an inch of a trailer for this movie. And, you know, people are saying whatever they want about it. But in terms of injecting a message and religious undertones and undertones of sexual orientation and undertones of political malfeasance, in terms of injecting those things into a movie, this is how you do it. You start out by telling a story, and these things naturally progress into what the movie is ultimately about. And I don't want to spoil that for anybody who hasn't seen it, so I won't get into it. But instead of telling a story and starting with the political undertones or the religious aspects, and then going, how can we take these things and fit them into our story? They decided, we'll tell a good story, and these things will naturally progress and happen throughout. And I'm not one to complain about politics or religion or these different touchy subjects being in a movie. But sometimes it could feel like you're being hit over the head with a message. And this movie has absolutely none of that. When a majority of an act in this movie is centered around a touchy subject and multiple prickly subjects throughout. And at no point did I think, ooh, this is a little, ooh, I don't know how people... It was just seamless. This movie should be a roadmap for what young up-and-coming directors can do, for what you can do with a shoestring budget, and for how you relay important philosophical and political and religious messages into the hearts and minds of American movie goers. The Monkey Man matters. Is it perfect by any means? No. But it's a damn good time. Go see it. And have a blast. Anyway, I've been Rodney. I don't think I said my name up top. The Monkey Man was cool. It made me think about things. I can't believe it was made for $10 million. That makes me want to throw up in a good way. If you like what we see here, consider dropping likes, dropping comments, and please be sure to subscribe. It is free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.